This is Nick Ramachandra from the NR Hour Sports Show. This is episode 1039. Happy Friday. TGIF weekend is starting up pretty soon here for everyone. So we are joined by a really special guest. Her name is Kacy Standohar. She's really talented sports journalist, sports reporter, sports host. She does everything in the sports industry. She's from Chicago. She's doing big things in her career so far, and really excited to have her on the show today. And fans, please tune in on our Spreaker app. You can ask questions today to Kacy. We always love fan interactions on this show. And Kacy, I just want to say thank you for joining the show, and it's truly an honor. And like I said, you have an amazing resume, amazing background, amazing story, and you're doing big things. So how are you and your family doing?
Good here. I'm enjoying life in Chicago. That's a really nice introduction. I appreciate it, but things have been good. Things have been busy. We're getting ready for the Bears preseason games over at CHGO. So kind of gearing up for what's going to be a pretty busy fall.
Yeah, so let's start with that before we get into your background. What's it like just to, obviously I'm a sports reporter too, so we cover games a lot too, and it's just great to be back into the stadiums, obviously after 2 years ago. And for you, what's it like now just to be back in the stadiums and cover games again? And obviously all of us are gonna be busy with football. So what's that been like for you now from 2 years ago?
It's great. At CHGO, we have a Bears reporter. His name's Nicholas Moriano, who's great Bears inside of the stadium. I do a lot of their social media for them too, for the podcast show in general. But when I'm at a high school game, covering a high school game or a college football, it's so fun to be back in that arena and in that setting, because I think during that was going to be gone for a very long time. So it's nice to be back. It's nice to have games. It's exciting. I don't know if the Bears are going to have an absolutely stellar season, but we can only hope.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting there. But tell our fans, how did Kacy Standohar get into sports, and how did your journey start?
Yeah, I grew up watching my college. Well, he played baseball, and then he went on to play college baseball. My dad was an athlete as well. They loved basketball. And so I was always around sports through them. And Cleveland Indians, now Cleveland Guardians baseball. And because I'm from Ohio. So to games and going to games. And that was so fun. And I enjoyed that so much. And then I went to college and I studied regular journalism, like news and as well, but I was a producer. And quickly I started to realize that the news was, and I was working kind of a midnight shift that really wasn't for me. So I kind of into the sports scene. I moved into Columbus, and in 2015, I started working for the Columbus Blue Jackets on their PR and entertainment side of things, that good stuff. So once I did that, I knew I really loved it and I wanted to. And when I moved to Chicago in 2018, I really just got involved however I can in sports. I worked in, pro softball and kind of got some reps with football, and that's kind of where it started and snowballed from there.
Yeah, so for you, obviously, when you were working there, getting to your goal, how important was it for yourself just to cover multiple sports at the same time? And like you said, it's reps for all about reps. But for you, how important was it for you just to learn different sports at the same time?
That's a good question. I think I had to do that as some things that I reached out to do were saying no. So you go where people say yes. It becomes your niche, that's that. Or if you kind of cover a few basketball games, then that's that. But it is real and have a wide variety of skills and sports that you can cover. Platforms too, because we have TikTok, Instagram, we have streaming services, we have, regular linear. There's so much, and there's podcasting. So having that wide variety of skills, I kind of was really grinding to get that experience because I didn't have time. So yeah, that's definitely key, but you kind of go where people say those things and saying yes to everything is important. And that's what I did in the beginning. And it was that I started actually getting paid to do it. And I built up my reel. And I got an opportunity at Comcast here to do some high school football and high school basketball coverage. And then that snowballed into, high school and then some college games. So it does happen, but you do have to be patient and trust the process hard way, because I wasn't always patient. I'm still not sometimes.
Yeah, I think it froze. Oh, we missed what. Oh, yeah, it froze before.
Did you get the end of that there?
No, I don't think so. What did what were you saying?
I was just saying that it's really a growing and learning process
Yeah.
to be patient, to understand that not everything is going to happen all at once, and not everything's going to happen the way it happened for one of your colleagues, because there really is no cookie cutter way into this industry. It works out differently. So I was just kind of saying that.
Yeah, so we are live with talented sports host, reporter, Kacy Standohar. We already have a fan question for you. One of our fans want to know, what would you say?
Great.
Yeah, what would you say your most memorable interview you've done so far?
That's a really good question. Thank you to whoever asked that. I loved getting asked that. German, she's a retired softball player now, but she was an Olympian, an athlete from Texas, and she played here with Athletes Unlimited Pro Softball. After season, which was her final season of playing, I got to do an interview with her post game, and she was so much taller than me, so it definitely looked a little bit odd because she's like chalk up like this. But it was an honor to get to talk to her.
Wow. And what did you learn from that interview? And what just to piggy off from the fan question, what was it like just to interview her and learn talking about her career and her afterlife after the career?
It's amazing. She is so intense. A lot of the softball players have a lot of fun and are pretty serious. So I definitely had to turn off like a lot of the humor and just kind of, she's very nice. It's just that she's a go-getter and she hustles out there. When she's pitching, she is in the zone. So it was a more nerve-wracking and intense interview.
Wow. Yeah. So for you, what's it like to be part of to be in Chicago, part of history there? It's a lot of Chicago sports or teams have history in Chicago. And what's that been like for you just to cover sports in Chicago and interview some high profile athletes? Like I think I saw somewhere where you did I think a feature on Javier Baez from the Cubs when he used to be in the Cubs. They take us to that.
Yeah, yes, it is. It is really intense being in Chicago media because I didn't grow up here. So history of these storied franchises and these great Chicago sports teams has been that everyone's been really helpful that I work with to share their knowledge with me and help me get to that point. If you tweet something incorrectly or ask a dumb question, you kind of land on social media and stuff like that. So I try to make sure I have my facts straight. Once when I worked for a marketing agency here in Chicago, and he was Boda sponsorship, so I got to interview him and work with him a little bit, take some pictures. He was very gardening and his family, and he has that whole like El Mago played for the Cubs, and but he was very kind and humble in person. Just a normal guy, It was great to meet him for a little bit.
Wow. Yeah. So we have another fan questions. One of our other fans want to know, what's who do you look up to in women in sports? Who is that one person that you looked up to? They want to know.
That's a great question. I have colleagues of mine, friends of mine, mentors of mine, people that I could go to and show them questions about the industry and get their advice. So many have been so helpful, but one that to me, who I had a phone conversation with and who is someone I watched regularly to Taft, and she does college football on Fox. I see a little bit of myself how she does her interviews, and I like just her whole presence. So she's someone who gave some great advice about a year ago about how hard this industry can be. You know, if you, not a lot of us can say that, but if you do, you're on a plane for things, you miss birthdays and communion and weddings. And so she kind of kept it real with me. It's her job and it's great and it's fun, but there's a lot of things that you miss and you sacrifice.
Well, yeah, so speaking of the interviews you've done so far, obviously you've done a lot, and you bring energy to the interviews. I've seen some of them. You're amazing at them, and so when it comes to your reels,
Thank
like you
you.
mentioned before, how take it to the process. How do you make your reels, and what do you post? Do you put every interview into one, or you try to like separate them out so people can see different files or different reels too?
Yeah, that's a good question. I try to make my reels about 3 minutes, 3:30. That, you know, I've been told by one of my broadcast coaches, Jill Montgomery, who's great, that no one that because you got to keep it brief, put your best stuff
Mhm.
up front, kind of draw people in the beginning. But a lot of people think, okay, they can be longer. You can put some feature stories on the end, or kind of put all your sideline reporting in one spot and kind of break it up like that. I don't do that. I just find my videos, stand-ups, you know, live or not live, whatever, put my best stuff up front, go from there,
Mhm.
kind of mix it up a little bit. I go back and forth between interviews and stand-ups and settings like football, basketball, softball. A lot of my best work right now has been in softball, so it's pretty heavy on Big E softball on FS2. But, you know, I have done high school. Get new stuff that you like better, and you want to replace the old stuff on your reel, and okay anymore, that's fine, but I'm going to move it over here. And I'm always adjusting it and making several versions of it too.
Yeah, speaking of softball, obviously, it's getting a lot of attention now, which is amazing. And seeing all these young women go at it, go at it every day on the field and put their hearts out to
Yes.
win the game. So, what's that like for you, just to cover that type of sport and seeing the young women play hard every day?
They're awesome. When these teams are incredibly talented and motivated, and I worked a lot with the UConn and Villanova softball teams towards the end of that tournament, and hear how these coaches train their team, coach their team, learn about the leaders on the team. It's so great to see. They had an infield softball team. Her name was Olivia. She was an incredible leader, a senior that year. Was her last. It was an honor to interview her and cover the team. Again, just truly inspiring. I talk from some of these athletes every day before I go to work.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have another fan question. Someone wants to know what's your funniest moment so far in your career?
That's a good one. I've had a lot of funny moments and bloopers. I think starting out, I went to the United Center here in Chicago where the Bulls and the Blackhawks. I was just trying to practice and film some footage outside of the Big Ten basketball. And it was so funny because it was like St. Patrick's Day, and it was right as I was starting to film by myself and kind of set up a tripod. It was the Wisconsin game. Michigan, Wisconsin, I'm not sure, but a game let out. Intoxicated fans were kind of coming out and getting in my shot and like doing funny things. And at the time, I was very upset about it. I was trying to get like a good clip, upset and shaken up by it. But then when I got home and I watched the footage back, it actually was really funny for real. And I made something that I thought was negative or bad into something funny and something that
Wow, that's crazy.
crazy,
But
but it ended up being a good moment.
do you still get that from fans like that? And if you do, and how do you control that?
That's a good question. A lot of times I'm with a photographer or secluded in a space where I can kind of do a bit at some of the Chicago Dogs baseball games where fans kind of
Mhm.
want to get in the shot and do silly things, just roll with that and keep going. And it does frustrate you, but at the same time, it's like, well, just make the best of it because there's not much you can do about it. Definitely still happens occasionally, but less.
Hmm. Yeah, so tell our fans about what's it like working with ESPN. Obviously, ESPN is a big market and a lot of great young talent there, and a lot of people to learn from. So what's that been like for you being with ESPN also?
Yeah, it's great. I did work with ESPN Plus, which is
Mhm.
and proper ESPN two. So I haven't met a lot of the talent yet. I know some of them, but with ESPN Plus, a lot of those crews are through the athletic program. So it was an honor to get to do a game on ESPN Plus. And I did one UIC men's basketball game and hoping to do, but it was nerve wracking. I definitely felt the pressure of like holding the mind, adjusting to everything around me was very different. So yeah, cool experience. Love to do anything for a network like ESPN Plus or Big East or anything. Getting to work on Fox Sports 2 this past May was so fun. I can't say anything bad about it. It was like the crew was great. Everyone was so helpful and kind. I learned a lot, and I think I hope to have more opportunities like.
Hmm. Yes, speaking of we have another fan question just popped in. Someone wants to know what big advice have you gotten throughout so far in your career?
Yes, I have had so much nuggets of advice and help along the way. Um, a lot of people really attribute it to one person, but just to be where your feet are and try not to look ahead too far. I have had people in the industry tell me that. I've had family, loved ones tell me that. And tough to remember because you're like, well, what's the next thing? What am I going to do next? I want to do this, and this person did this. It's so hard. It's
Mm.
hard every day. I'm not saying I've mastered it at all, but from day to day, I go, okay, I once wanted what I have right now, opportunities that I currently have because I once thought I would never get them and I would never get there. And I did. What's next? Every day is new, every day
Mhm.
is fresh. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow. So, and try to enjoy that. And that's not just for sports broadcasting. I think that's for life. I'm always like, when am I going to do this? And when's this going to happen? And when am I going to do this? And it's like owning in and going, all right, what's today look like? Because I don't know about tomorrow yet, but what is today? Thing that I'm still learning. I'm still trying to be good at, and that I think is key that people have, tried to tell me.
So is the Chicago Dogs part of the Cubs organization or the White Sox?
It's actually an independent baseball
Oh,
team. It
okay.
used to be affiliated through minor league baseball, independent league with the American Association, and they're awesome. I have so much fun. We have a game tonight and tomorrow, so I will be there in a couple hours. But on the broadcast crew, the ownership, the team, the players, everybody is great. The coaches there, the fans are really fun. And it's a great field. If you're ever in Chicago and it's right, flying over, it's a really nice facility.
Wow. Yeah, so they're in the Frontier League, right? Or in the just it's an independent ball with the Frontier League?
No, they're not. not. The Windy City, the Windy City Thunderbolts are another team that I used to cover. They're in the Frontier League.
Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
So what's it like doing features on these players that people don't know about from different leagues, and obviously getting their stories out? Like in New Jersey, we cover a lot of minor league baseball too, and we cover the Frontier League. And actually tonight we're covering Somerset Patriots, the Yankees minor league team. And for you, what's it like
Cool.
doing? Yeah. So what's it like doing futures
Nice.
on these players?
Yeah, that's a great question. And you said it. I mean, you get to do that too, probably enjoy it.
Mhm.
It's awesome because you get to give them the exposure that they otherwise or had in the past but don't have currently. And it's great because their stories need to be told are super interesting. I mean, some of them come from, Butch Hobson's the manager of, he played in the majors. He managed the Red Sox, Clemens, whose dad is Roger Clemens, and so there's connections, former athletes all over, and so it's so cool to find those connections, career, and just see them develop and grow into awesome, great too.
Oh, here's an interesting question from one of our fans. They want to know, who are three people that you want to sit down with to eat lunch with and learn from?
Question. Oh my goodness. Would I interview them or just like have
Like sit like
lunch
a
with
lunch,
and
you could
sit
sit
down?
down, lunch, learn. Like it could be they want to know, like it could
Mm.
be like sports figures, like any three sports figures they want to know.
Oh, sports figures.
Hmm.
Oh gosh, that. Um, I think Johnny Bench would be a really cool with and talk
Hmm.
to. Even just watching him on the Field of Dreams game, he seems a guy with good stories. He would be really cool. I'd obviously love to. I know I learned a lot, but Michael Jordan is someone who I would love to just learn more about and ask questions to. I think he's someone who can be pretty elusive and mysterious. I think that he would be a really cool person to talk to and ask questions to one on one.
Wow. Hmm. Yeah. So
That was a hard question. There's so
yeah.
many.
Yeah, they're our fans are amazing when it comes to the interaction. It's awesome. Yeah. So 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 what are you most looking forward to? Obviously, with football coming back and other sport, obviously baseball heading into the playoffs soon, and other sports are coming back. Hockey, basketball. Actually, basketball's coming up soon in
Yeah,
October. But what are you most looking forward to with all these major sports coming back for yourself? What are your goals for this year?
I'm excited.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm excited to work for CHGO during the Bears, Bulls, and Blackhawks season for all of us. But it's an exciting time as we continue to grow and spread the word about live shows and about what we do as a media company. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited to do a little bit, maybe some college basketball or hockey or high school sports. I'm excited to kind of keep growing, keep getting better. Um, I hope the Bulls have a really good year. I think they have a chance in limbo. The Bears might not do very well, but I think the Bulls have a decent chance back to where they were last season. They couldn't beat the Bucks.
Mhm.
We knew that was probably going to happen, but they perform will be exciting.
Yeah, I think the Bulls should be exciting to watch. Obviously, with Lonzo Ball. I mean, if he's healthy, then maybe they have a
Yeah.
decent chance. Last year he was injury, a lot of injuries, but I
Yes.
think with a healthy Ball and then getting back to Levine and DeMar DeRozan and Vucic and man, that lineup is like it's scary, and I think the Bulls
Oh yeah.
they're gonna be fun to watch again this year.
I hope so. I hope you're right.
And did you get to speaking of the Bears? Obviously, we actually got the opportunity to talk to Lance Briggs and Brian Urlacher on the show 2 years
Oh,
ago.
cool.
Yeah. Did you ever get to meet
Okay.
them? Did you ever get to connect with any Bears legend or Bulls legends yet, or not yet?
No one on the Bulls. We interviewed Brian Urlacher on the Bears podcast. I wasn't specifically interviewing him, but we worked previously with Olin Kreutz, so I'm familiar with him as well. But um, no other Bears players that I know of. Mariano might have more info on that. You should have him on the podcast sometime. But it's cool because we have people who have covered the Bears for very last or for NBC, and have been around Hallis Hall and been around the team for many years. So connection with our new media company.
Wow. Yeah, so tell our fans what's the most tell our fans what people don't know about you.
Oh man, pretty much an open book. Be a dancer. I really loved to dance and be in the performing arts. I did like ballet, tap, hip, everything. I did all the different. I danced competitively for many years, and I used to think, but it felt like sort of a career that wasn't as stable. Casting instead, which is also kind of unstable at times. But I always looked at that. I think that's kind of why I channeled that into, doing television and doing performative in a way, and it's theatrical in a way. So that kind of fills that void for me that I miss more.
Yeah, so we have another fan question for you. One of our fans want to know, do you have a nickname?
Just a case. When I grew up, my dad used to call me Goose, and I don't know why. Sometimes he still calls me that. But people just call me Case if they know me pretty well.
Yeah, can you speak on women in sports? Obviously, it's grown over the past years, and there's still room to grow. And obviously, a lot of women now in the sports industry. And I have a team of 12 people who helps me out with this show, and I have 5 females who helps me out with this show. And what's it like
Cool.
seeing the growth of women in sports?
To have a staff of women as well. I think we want to see it continue to grow. And ceilings, we have several women as play-by-play broadcasters in the NBA now, and that just you have your great broadcasters like Doris Burke and your great analysts and people that are breaking into the media space. Just the fact that there's more opportunity is great, and more jobs to see, and people who are diverse are getting because they deserve it, and so it doesn't need to be so secluded. And I hope we get to a place where open to that and understanding that women are calling games. Women are looks are subjective. It doesn't matter what you look like. It shouldn't matter what you look like than it does for men in this industry. So I hope that kind of continues to get better and people take less notice of what we look like or what we say and how we're covering the game and how we know our stuff. That's important to me. And in sports at CHGO, we have women covering our Sky cast, our WNBA podcast, and the Sky are doing incredible this year. They could repeat. And so we also have women covering our Red Stars podcast, which is awesome to see. I hope that, Chicago and other markets continue to make space. It's important. And I know we say that a lot, but it really is. And it's great to see become my colleagues and friends and people that I can lean on.
Yeah, speaking of the Chicago Sky, what a great team they have. Candace Parker obviously coming back home, which is huge for them, and winning the championship last year, they can repeat. We had the opportunity to talk to the head coach, James Wade, 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. He was on our show, and it was an honor talking to him. And he spoke highly of. I think that was. Oh, we had him on when they signed Candace Parker. That's when we had him on, and so.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so he told me how the recruitment went. He told me everything about the recruitment, and it's such a great great story they had there, and I'm hoping they repeat.
Oh yeah.
I think they do have a chance to repeat.
Yes, I hope so too. They play Sunday against Connecticut, the Connecticut Sun, and I'm excited to see what they can. Honestly, are like our only hope in Chicago right now because our White Sox aren't playing very well. Like they were sort of rebuilding too. So the Sky are our hope for another championship here.
Yeah. So before we get to the last two things, tell our fans about the Chicago this in general, like the fans in Chicago. What's that been like for you in interacting with the fans in Chicago?
They're so passionate. They love their team. You know, side baseball fans. Um, and everyone's friendly. I went to I'm a Cubs fan, but Sox opening day this year, and I was surprised at how friendly all the tailgaters and all the fans were to me. You know, they at the time I think they were really hopeful about the season that hadn't started yet, but they're passionate, they're excited. They can be pretty intense, especially on Twitter. White Sox Twitter can be a crazy place to go. But you just have to take it with a grain of doing your thing. I've liked meeting a lot of the fans at the Chicago Dogs games, and who are also, you know, it's been great to see some of our fans out at tailgates. We had a Chicago Fire before one of the Fire soccer matches. And it's fun to meet fans there and meeting new people. So it's been good.
Wow. All right, we'll take one more fan question. They want to know your thoughts on Becky Hammon winning Coach of the Year today.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
They want to know your thoughts real quick on Becky Hammon winning Coach of the Year today.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's awesome. I think that she's great and she deserves to win Coach of the Year. It's fun to see women getting those awards and earning those achievements. That's great. I hope it's a Chicago coach in the future years, but you know, I think with the Aces, yeah, totally. I'm totally okay with it. What are your thoughts?
I'm happy for her. She's amazing. She worked hard throughout her career, obviously as a player and now a coach, and she was on Greg Popovich's bench, and now she's a heck of a head coach with the Las Vegas Aces. I'm just hoping she gets an opportunity to coach in the NBA as a head coach. I want to see that happen for her to coach in the NBA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She probably will. And, you know, if women managing in high level positions with baseball teams only next to follow. So I really do hope so.
Yeah. So the last two things here, our team is part of this foundation. It's called the Hugh Jackson Foundation. We're trying to help them prevent human trafficking, making sure the community stays safe and the kids stay safe. So we'll send you the foundation so you can check it out.
Great. More about that. Thank you so much. This has been so much fun. I hope that's where I kind of got disconnected for a second. Doesn't affect anything, but thank you so much. I really appreciate. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, anytime, you too. But the last thing here, would you like to say anything to all the nurses, doctors, and all the essential workers right now?
Oh, just thank you for the continued support. The pandemic has been long, and it still continues to rage on in some cases. And I can't imagine doing what they do for a living. So definitely very grateful for them. I can do what I do because they have been taking care of people, and we're there through it all in 2020. So thank you.
And where can our fans find you on social media?
I'm on Twitter at Kacy Standohar, just my full name. On Instagram at Kacy. Those are pretty much my two main platforms. I have fun with TikTok a little bit too, but Twitter and Instagram mostly.
Well, so there you have it. The talented sports reporter, host, journalist Kacy Standohar from Chicago. Go follow her. She's amazing. Thank you for joining us today. Truly an honor, and we would love to have you back on the show down the line so you can meet the full team. But keep up the great work, and you represent women in sports in a big way. And I love your story, and keep it up. And thank you, and have a great weekend.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Anytime.